I legit thought those were gunshots.
I thought so too. I guess they could be.
Live school shooting.
That's not funny. Would an announcement even happen?
That's like footsteps.
Are you sure?
I think so, yeah. You're good. You would hear screams. Yeah, they're doing like
Not if we've got crazy accuracy.
Stay here.
All right. Oh, you're going?
Watch my 6. I think you're fine.
Okay. That was odd.
There's people, when I look down, there's people walking.
That's so weird.
Are you okay?
No, I mean, I'm fine. I was
Is-
about to go John Wick.
Is the camera going?
Yeah.
Is your mic going?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You said cover my 6 like a secret agent.
Does that make me more a badass that I just walked out there?
I think it's kind of cool.
Well, we had...
I don't know what you were going to do.
I was confirmed. I wasn't going to be like, stop, shoot her. I was going to be like, dude, if there's someone, there's the...
That's got to be the cold open for this serious
I
episode.
want to know if you can catch it. What that noise was.
I don't know.
If you can't hear it, we thought we heard gunshots, but they are doing construction, but not in this building.
It was like, it sounded like gunshot. It had the rhythm of gunshots.
It
It was
did.
bop, bop, bop.
But I was like, there's no screams, right? So I went out there and like, we're on a top floor.
Yeah.
So I looked down and like, it sounded like it came from the bottom floor.
Yeah.
And there were people walking. I was like, we're good. It's someone doing something.
We're already off to a good start with this exclusive episode.
So I think the vibe is just like chatting about stuff. Because here's the interesting thing. I said it before on the show. I've known Nick since high school. He was in the grade ahead of me. Okay?
Yeah.
I met you this semester.
Yeah.
Okay, so did Nick. So that was a new dynamic. And I think we kind of go into a little bit of the history
Okay.
of how, like, Are the Asshole. So I put it in the credits, there's no secret. We'd go to IUS.
Yep.
So my thing I was studying is radio broadcasting.
Yeah.
And I did radio broadcasting through high school, here with the station. And this is actually what was crazy. When we started the class, our teacher basically said, hey, what do you guys want to do? 'Cause it's student run, you can literally do whatever you want. And I brought up I was like, what if we read these Reddit posts? It's funny. The class got like a well-recepted thing. And they took it, if you've seen the podcast on Horizon, it went in a different direction. And then when it came down to do your solo thing, it was Nick. Nick went, you want to do that Are the Asshole thing?
Yeah.
And I was like, sure. And we told Ron, can we do it? Because we didn't know if you could say asshole on.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, you're good. And you're like, outside the hall, you're like, can I get it? That's exactly how you phrased it. Can I get it on that? And we're like, sure.
Yeah. I don't know. It sounded like, I don't know. I guess maybe this is my first semester on campus.
I remember you telling me that.
So it was kind of like that weird, like, push yourself a little bit, like make a friend maybe. And I just heard you guys talking. And I don't know, I kind of felt like I had the vibe, like I struggle to see. Like I don't have the best vision. And I'm supposed to wear glasses. So I was sitting towards the front. I kind of just felt like the nerdy kid. So I was like, all right, well, I heard you guys talking. And I was like, all right. They seem cool. I was like, maybe it'll be fun. Maybe not necessarily easy. It ends up being, it's fairly easy.
Oh, yeah, in its essence.
But I don't know. It was fun, and I was like, at the very least, I'll get to talk to you guys for 8 months, and then
go from there.
Yeah.
I do remember whenever I suggested did I ever tell you like where the original Are the Asshole, what it was supposed to be last semester?
Yeah. You told me that it was like round table style.
Yeah, we did.
And then it ended up like. The consensus was if you were going to do it, you would one by one ask everybody their opinion. That's kind of what I'm remembering.
If you've seen the Horizon podcast last semester, it was very similar to how it is now, but with like 5 people. And it'd be the same thing. Today's topic is amusement parks. 4 guys, you just have the conversation. I wanted it to be, are you the asshole? I was like, oh, we all go around and tell a story, and I told this to our teacher, and he liked the idea, and my classmates at the time, a lot of them graduated, liked it. But the way he worded it to me was, if we did it, I would be like the permanent host. I would come up with the stories, and only the people on the other side of the table would give reactions.
Yeah.
I'm like, part of the fun is finding what you find funny in the weirdness and presenting it. So it just never came to be, and then when we started the semester, I just told the story. It didn't exactly work out.
I think that's what's interesting, and you mentioned it in the episode we just shot before this on both main channels, but kind of adapting to your guys' sense of humor is fun. Like, it's fun.
We're very similar in a lot of regards, but maybe because I edit,
Yeah.
I pick up on the subtleties to
Yeah.
like you always laugh with your head back, Nick puts his head down, and I clap.
Yeah.
Like that's exclusive to us and
Yeah.
how we react.
It's just, even like finding stories where it's like, Josh will find this funny. Nick will have something funny to say about this.
I do remember when I got the video game one, because Nick and me, we like a lot of the same games. I was like, this is right up Nick's alley.
Well, it's like I find a little bit more about you guys each week. Like, obviously,
True.
we're not the best of friends. I
Right.
think that's fair to say. I see you maybe a couple times a week, maybe, which is more than I see some of my good friends, honestly. But, so I mean, I guess you're up there. But it's cool to just be able to like, kind of, I don't know, build friendships.
I did radio in high school, and the best thing that my teacher said that I could do is get along with people quickly.
Yeah.
And I think that rings true for everybody. I think if you can do that, because especially with radio, because it's high school and everyone in the class was a grade ahead of me, or 2, I would lose my co-host every year.
Yeah.
So I would get new people, and it's like, all right. Like my first year, it was one guy named Joe Lincoln, and Joe was one of my best friends in high school. And we did it my sophomore, my junior year, and he was the grade ahead of me, so he graduated. And then after that, I was the senior, and I had juniors. And I was like, it was Tyler and Kellen. Both guys were hilarious. Kellen even goes here, which is funny. I ran into him not too long ago. But you pick up on like, Kellen has very like, I don't want to say like TikTok humor, but you know what I mean when I say
Yeah.
it. And I'm like, that's unique to him.
Yeah.
It's different than when it was with Joe, and then a guy named Wyatt joined us later.
And that's interesting, because I do music, and the band I'm in, I don't know when this comes out, so I don't know if the song will be out or if we're even officially a band, but we just wrote a song about like adopting. It's a quality that both myself and the lead singer have. Like, we feel like we do. We'll meet someone, and almost similar to like a sponge. Like, if you have a quality I like and I feel like I'm lacking it,
Take it from you.
that's my quality now. Like, at least in some capacity, like, I'm gonna, and it's not necessarily a healthy habit, but that's interesting to like have to filter out through people like that, and then learn like, oh, I can't use this type of humor around this person because they don't find it funny.
It's me in my workplace.
Yeah. That's interesting. So what was it like your senior year then? Like, did you know that and you were like, don't get attached to me? Like, you will not have me next year.
Well, what got me was I did the radio show, and then I did sports radio, like play-by-play for basketball,
Okay.
football, that kind of thing. And you had guys that only did the sports, guy that did the daytime stuff. And because me and Nick were in different periods, I did the morning show, his crew ran the night show. Because we were in such different periods, I only saw him on game days, because he's a sports guy like me. And you had to do some of them for credit. Like, that was class credit. You had to call at least 2 games. So you would get people, and they didn't care about sports.
Right.
Because it's a radio and TV class. They were filmmakers, and no offense for the stereotype, but they weren't sports people. So they would half-ass it, and I was really into sports and radio. And Nick was the first person out of my class, because me and that guy Joe love sports, so we always did games together. He brought the energy. Like,
Yeah.
it was like a breath of fresh air. I'm like,
I think that's important no matter what you're doing. Like, you have to be the energy. And it's interesting because I've never.
I'm listening to you. I don't come off
No,
rude,
you're
but
good.
I have a picture from when me, Nick, and that guy Joe called a game my junior year,
Oh wow.
and I'm just going through and finding it real quick.
Yeah, you have to be the energy. I don't have like, aside from like dedicating my junior and senior year of college to journalism, I've never had like much interest in
Really?
journalistic qualities other than like integrity. I don't like when people lie.
Dude, lying's the worst quality.
Especially in
somebody.
media. I don't enjoy that. I can't watch the news.
Me
Doesn't
neither.
matter which way you twist the story. I don't like it. Especially if you're lying to tell me what I want to hear. That's what I hate the most.
Fox News, CNN.
Yeah, it just like the major, well, even just like smaller creators. Like I've cut off YouTubers because it's like they feed you some agenda, and
Some
it's like
bullshit thing.
I'm losing the ability to form my own opinions when you sit and just watch that 24/7. So I think being the energy, like you said, is like that's what I try to do, no matter where I'm at. And I say that because obviously my background's in music.
Right.
You know, I've played. I showed you a picture down at the Horizon.
If you text me that, can I put that up? You're talking about we learn something new every day
Yeah.
about each other. You didn't send me the picture. Where was it and how many people was it?
So it was at Headliners in Louisville, Kentucky.
Right.
The capacity is like 850, and we were over capacity.
You oversold it.
So I'm guessing like 900.
So there you go. That's impressive, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Not in that band anymore. You know, anyone that knows me through this will know that history lesson. But I mean, it's important to be the energy. You know, I've played in bands where guys are glued to the floor, and it's
Well,
like,
you're a drummer. That's where energy. That's where it stems from.
no, I don't know.
Really?
I've always gotten compliments about how much it looks like I'm having so much fun. Mm-hmm. And like I keep my hair a little bit longer, and it's just here, and I'm always trying to find a way to make something visually appealing. Music is interesting because this is how I talk with my bandmate now. You put on headphones and you listen to an album, and you're only getting the auditory experience. Like
Right.
you're making things up in your head, but one thing I do differently is how can I make it to where you could watch watch my show with earmuffs on and not hear any of the audio and still have a good time. So
That's a good perspective for it.
yeah, I mean it's just what I mean by energy. Like it's just super important no matter what you're doing. Even sitting here, like I don't know, I feel like we all bring a percentage of the energy to this show. So it's like there's weeks where I don't necessarily think I've got one-liners like that, and then you and Nick step up.
Pick it up. Well, I feel like the dynamic is interesting, and it reminded me of a story. The first episode we did, when we rapped, and you and Nick were breaking down the cameras. We got on the subject. You showed us some guy on TikTok. You said like, "Oh, this is the best drummer I've seen." Like
Yeah.
that was like the topic, and you just were naming drummers, and you said Neil Peart, which
Yeah.
I love Rush, and I was like, and this is funny. I was like, "Oh yeah, I love Rush, man." Like I grew up with that band. You're like, "Yeah, I don't really listen to him, but the drummer, I like the drummer." I
I
was like,
couldn't name you one Rush song.
it's just funny because it just shows how different
Yeah.
like it is. Because I'm a big like music guy. Like I did like high school band, never like a rock band or anything, but I could appreciate it. Like I have like
Yeah.
I still have like vinyl records. I dive into histories. I love music documentaries on like Netflix, Hulu. So like it's cool to have
Yeah, different.
a musician's take, because you show us a guy on TikTok, because when you're like a viewer of music, who's the best drummer? John Bonham. It's always the rock band guys. And you're like, no, it's this guy.
It's this guy because of a technical aspect. It's this guy because of a quality that he has that
Yep.
the general, not to group you in with people that don't know, but like,
Oh, I don't know.
well, yeah, but the general consensus is like those guys are the greats.
Because they're put on a pedestal.
Right.
to be
Ringo Starr. Not many people consider him a great drummer, but
Well,
but
it's
like,
always the argument of, could Ringo play Danny Carey
Yeah,
songs,
dude,
but Danny Carey could play Ringo songs?
one thing on my For You page right now, it's probably just a drummer thing, but it's like, why did why did Ringo Starr leave this much room in this section of the bridge? And it's just like the craziest, nasty fill. He's like, he could have been doing this the whole time.
Oh, boy.
And the comments don't understand. It's a joke. But
Right.
back to that quality of being a sponge. Like, I watch those guys, and I don't have to like their music.
True.
I watch those guys with the volume off. I want to know
The
what I
approach.
want from you. Like, what can I take from you to elevate myself? And that sounds, I don't mean that in the sense of like me, selfish me, make me better.
It's improving.
But yes, it's like, it's, I don't know, I desire to grow. And I do it with this. Like, I didn't pick up cameras until probably a year or two ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought there was something you didn't. You were very like, I know Nick did a ton of camera stuff just from knowing him. And when we were in the room for the first time, I thought you had like the same like years of experience he did.
No, I mean, where I went to high school, we had no journalism we had an intercom system. That was our
Are you comfortable saying where you went?
Silver Creek High School.
Me and Nick went to Floyd Central.
Yeah, we didn't have the best funding for music either,
And
which is crazy.
We had, I will say and one thing about the music thing, and this has always been my take, the objective greatest guitarist of all time, he's probably already dead. He's in a band right now that plays in bars with 20 people.
Yeah.
I'll never subscribe, like, Eddie Van Halen, hell of a guitar player, but at the same time, there's probably a guy better than him in Toledo, Ohio,
Right.
who you just don't get. But my thing with journalism, the experience was I did it first my sophomore year of high school, and I had a very bad I was panicking about what I was going to do for like a career.
Mm-hmm.
That's
where I'm at now.
Well, when I was 16, it was because my dad is a very big, and he still says it, the line of find something you love, never work a day in your life. And not to diss my older brother, he never had that. So seeing him kind of go through like, shit, I'm a second semester senior in high school. What am I going to college? If I did, what am I studying? And it kind of gave me anxiety. And my teacher was a guy named Brian Shaw, love him to death. He was like, I need 2 people to do a radio show. We never did that my freshman year because that was his first year teaching. And he was just like, Josh, you want to do it?
Yeah.
And I almost said no because I was like, I don't really care. And I was like, you know what? He wants to do all these news packages and editing. I wasn't into it at the time. So I said, screw it. I'll do the radio show with Joe. And very quickly, I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. That for me is music.
Literally.
But this is just a more tangible. You know, it sounds better at family functions too.
Sure.
Like, I will say that music has taught me so much about the technical aspect of stuff like this.
Yeah.
Like, I could set up and run my own radio show out of my bedroom.
I think, because what kills me about it is that everyone acts like, especially like with YouTubers, you see all these like $1,000 stuff. I'm like, dude, like the microphone I had for my first radio show cost $50.
I mean,
Like, it
for
was
real,
fine.
honestly, if you've got a cell phone and like I mean, you see it on TikTok.
An
people with the AirBud, like the iPhone
Airbud?
headphones. AirBuds.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, but I mean, you can do it with nothing. And then, obviously, I'm a huge proponent of buy it right the first time, save yourself the money in the future.
I agree with that.
So, like, yeah, I've probably got $10,000 in sound equipment and drums too.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, that's what gives me the knowledge to sit down in the studio room and go, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. And then
You are I mean this generally, you're probably the best example of you can learn it yourself.
absolutely.
And the reason I say this, you talk about all this equipment and sound stuff, not to diss our teacher, but like I remember we went into class for the first time and he was kind of confused about how these mics were gonna run with 15 people in the room. And you came up with 2 very easy solutions without really spending money.
Like that.
And I was like, that's student-run thing. Like you should be allowed to do that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't because, I don't want to overstep and then undo something and then everybody have to learn how to do it again. That's not necessarily fair, but I mean, we're a $500 fix from everybody having a microphone in that room. Isn't that crazy?
It's because, especially like what you're good at, you're not like, oh yeah, just buy this, you're good. You explain how you get rid of this, you do this, that's gonna allow this, you're gonna get that guy in the back who doesn't have a mic, you're gonna get her, like, you covered all bases for what it needed.
Well, I mean, it's just, music has like really changed the way I think about things. And I've been fortunate to be in really bad bands. Like,
Fortunate.
yes.
You learn from
Yes.
mistakes.
Oh my gosh, yes. The first band I was in high school, like early high school, maybe 14 or 15. And I didn't do anything because I didn't know.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't have like the wherewithal to like
How long? Sorry to cut you off. How long were you playing drums at that point before you joined the first band?
maybe 6 months, maybe.
Really?
I told my bandmate at the time that I knew how to play drums before I had drums. I told everybody that I knew how to play drums before I even had them. And I taught myself with chopsticks. Like, that was it.
That's impressive, dude.
Yeah. So I'm self-taught. But the whole experience of that was just like, that first band, it was like that slimy teenager mentality where it's just like, oh, you already know how to do it all. What do you need me for?
Yeah.
And then I just show up and play and reap all the benefit. And then that ends up falling through because of a quality like that. So it's like, start arguing and it's like, oh, well, I'm starting to realize I don't know how to do anything. And I've overcommitted to this idea of, you do it. I've overcommitted to that. So you see it all the way through. Band falls through. Join a new band. So there's 4 of us at the time. The other 3 guys in the band didn't know anything. They had probably $15,000 in gear and didn't know how any of it worked other than turning it on and plugging it in.
I knew someone very similar when I was in high school.
It's like, how do you not understand that? And then it forced me to...
It's the gear, it's not the person. It's what they believe.
It forced me to go into this mode of, all right, I need to figure this out to the bare minimum so we can at least, change things up.
Literally.
And be efficient. And it doesn't help when, I'm sober. I don't drink or do anything like that. So
I'm 100% the same way.
Yeah. So it doesn't help when, it's 11 o'clock at night, you just played a show, the lights are hot, and your entire band goes to the bar.
I'm not.
It's like, whoa.
I'll ask you this. Are you comfortable in a bar? As someone who doesn't drink, are you comfortable in a bar setting?
I've been in...
Off stage. I'll say off stage.
I don't go to bars. But I've been in bars probably since I was 15. Just, going in and playing.
Yeah.
Obviously, you get the X's all over your hands and stuff. But, I mean, I've never enjoyed it.
I couldn't.
But, I mean... I know that's where I'm gonna have to be in the mud for a little bit.
For sure.
Because when you go from playing to 900 people, leaving that band, and then starting over, now I've got all this knowledge and I know how to get there again. But you've got to go back to the bars.
I remember when I turned, because I was a relatively good kid. Like I remember when I turned 21, and I have friends who drink, and I don't knock anyone that does it. Obviously, I don't care. But my biggest factor, I do remember vividly when I was 17, a buddy of mine got drunk, just doing whatever, and he's a best friend since elementary school. And that night I was like, me hanging out with you sober or drunk is not nearly as fun as me hanging out with you sober.
Yeah.
And I feel like biologic, I'm gonna be the same way. I just don't. And plus, not to go into detail, I've had family members who've had bad stuff, so you see the negatives, and you're like, it ain't worth it for me.
It goes back to what you said earlier, being the energy. It's that's perfect. I've never heard it put that way, but being the energy is just awesome. I've never felt the need to show up to a show and smoke a joint and have a beer because it's gonna make me sharper or better. That doesn't make any sense.
Steve Clark from Def Leppard, he couldn't go on stage until he was drunk.
My thought process is if I never start those things, I'll never have to rely on those things. So
that's wisdom.
The first time somebody was like, oh, I just chugged a beer, now I can go on stage. Well, now I can't go on stage without a beer. It's yeah, you allowed that to happen. And there's not to shame people that smoke cigarettes or drink or smoke, whatever, but I don't know. It's healthy to kick, and I've kicked it in smaller ways too. Like I used to drink soda all the time.
Dude, you don't. I was probably the most unhealthy person on planet Earth.
I used to drink during COVID. It got real bad.
Yep.
I would drink, or maybe right before, because I got into really good shape during COVID. But I was drinking like 6 cans of Coke a day.
Dude,
A day.
I was like 4, but that's the quick cut there because and he's setting the timer. You remind me of a story. Talk about soda. I used to drink a lot of soda, and I had a fear of that I was diabetic because I got blood work done right about when we started the show. I think I remember telling you guys that, and I didn't go to the doctor for the longest time, and it was because, I was fine, didn't feel like I needed to go, and I went and got blood work done.
Mm-hmm.
And what was crazy about it is I was like, because they check for everything. They check for thyroid,
Right.
all this stuff. And I have family with autoimmune disease. They check for that stuff. But even though autoimmune disease is the biggest fear, I was like, this blood sugar thing. Because like, don't really do needles. You hear about insulin and all this stuff. And I was like, I ate a lot of candy, drank a lot of soda. If you look at, I'm not making this up, if you look up like the top 10 symptoms of type 2 diabetes, I have 9 of them. Like, I'm like, yeah, I do that. That's me.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, man, I just fucked something like really bad up. And I get the blood work done. And how it worked is, if it's anything over like the blood sugar, it's 5.4 is normal. Anything beyond that is like pre, and anything above 5.7 is type 2 diabetes. So she's going through all this stuff, and blood work came back normal.
Good.
People get worried. She gets the blood sugar thing, and I'm like, 5.4 is normal. If I'm, even then, how my head works, if I'm 5.3, I'm like, that would be like a miracle. I was 5.1.
Wow.
And I was like, I remember like, I told like my mom that, because she told me growing up I had type 2.
Do you like really salty things?
Yeah.
I think for me it's the sugar that I crave. Like
100%.
the one thing that I had to kill, and because I don't drink, because I don't smoke, I know I've got mental issues, but I don't take any medication for it. I don't. I don't like the idea of relying on something that changes me being me authentically.
I agree with that, honestly.
So soda to me was like the only thing I had where I was like, I rely on this thing daily. It's like, kick this. So I cold turkeyed.
Now that you say, you do bring in like a lot of like more sweet teas and stuff than you do.
Yeah,
You do like carbonated drinks.
Yeah, I try to bring things that are just kind of rooted around water, because I went, probably, this is like the 3rd year I've done no soda. So
Damn.
yeah.
I'm like,
So,
I probably have like one like, or 2 like once a week.
yeah,
I'm slow down.
I'll do like a Red Bull.
Oh yeah.
So like energy drinks, I guess they're technically sodas, but like I drink those way more sparingly than I would a Coke. So like I don't know, those have different avenues in my mind, but for like 2 years it was just straight water. And like for me physically, that was probably I want to get back to that point.
Did you get the caffeine headaches?
Yeah, but they were gone quick.
It was rough for me. You talked about like mental stuff. I had, and this is, I don't want to get too serious. I was very bullied in middle school. High school it got better because I came into my own. I started hanging around like sports more, and people matured more. They didn't care, and they thought I was depressed because not to go into excruciating detail, it was more physical than it was verbal, and I had to go to the doctor twice, like taken from school to the doctor for for shit that went down, and because I ran my mouth. That's the only thing I give my self credit. I was fucking 5 feet tall, 30 pounds soaking wet. This guy comes up, 6'1", and he was like, "Oh, look at Breeden." I'm like your fat ass or something like that. So I did, like, I always fought back. I'm glad I didn't just take it, but something I learned.
Good for you, man.
Thank you. And here's what's crazy. I have no problem calling him out. I went to Highland Hills. I went to Highland Hills Middle School. That's what I'm calling out.
Okay.
And I remember I got beat up. I got slammed my head into a wall, and my shoulder went first. So it was like the side of my head and my shoulder. And I went to the nurse's office, and they immediately directed me to the guidance counselor. No ice pack, no. They said, no, go to Mr. his name. So I walk in there, and this is actually kind of sad. He was like, all right, what happened? Tell him what happened. he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, it was more my shoulder than my head for some. I was like, I thought I broke my collarbone.
Yeah.
I was like, this severely hurts. Like, no, I'm not okay. He's like, no, but like mentally. I was like, I'm in pain. I'm like, can we deal with this later? And he kept asking me all these mental questions, not to negate mental health, but what I learned is this is close to when I think Parkland happened. And they were so scared of bullied kids that they want to check where they were mentally before if they were to do a shooting. And I was like,
Wow.
and I was like, and I remember that same guy, like I got beat up a month later. He's like, what happened? Like so-and-so basically jumped me. And I kid you not, on my life, verbatim, he goes, what do you want me to do about it?
Wow.
And I had a small group of friends, and I'm lucky enough to still be friends with them to this day. We were all kind of bullied, and we had the attitude of, my mom had like autoimmune disease. I didn't want to put pressure, like your son's getting the shit kicked out of him. So I never told her. So in my mind, no parents or family, the school won't help us, our peers won't help us. We're on our own. And teachers didn't help us. And it sounds sad, but like it became like a brother. Like we would skip class and go to the library and read comic books. Like it.
Yeah. So what was your thing? Like what got you out of it to like not drive you down such a dark, depressing line of thought? Like that's a wise thought process to have as like a middle schooler.
I was in 6th grade and they put me. Here's what was crazy. They said, I said I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah.
Which, you know, like when you're a kid, you joke like,
right.
Shit gets knocked over. Oh, I'm gonna kill myself.
You might have to bleep that, by the way, or like just cut the audio.
Trigger warning in front of it. We'll do it like at the cut. But I never said it. I didn't even say like I want to punch myself. Like, and then for some reason this rumor came out, and not to disgrace my mom, she believed it. They put me on Prozac, Zoloft, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It screwed me up because I didn't have to like truly like that's what. Again, it sounds so bad because every time I say this, it sounds like I'm knocking on mental health. But these kids who you could easily help by like talking through it, you give them drugs when they don't have it.
Oh my gosh.
And it messes with their head. And I remember like telling a buddy, I'm like, I don't feel good. Like it just, not like I was like more saddened. It's just like physically, I'm like, I had stomach problems because I was taking it. Like it was very bad.
Yeah.
Because they had a tough time saying this kid who gets bullied every day didn't have depression. And my mindset, like you asked, was I always look for the next thing. Like middle school was rough for me. I knew avoid so-and-so, don't go there, don't go there.
Right.
But it's like, when I get home, Assassin's Creed 3,
yeah.
my aunt's...
So it was video games, like, so, yeah. That's
my aunt is coming over, like...
For me, it was music. Music pulled me out of that. I was able
music did too.
It's hard... Because obviously I'm seeing it I get to make music. So I'm getting to kind of write about those things, whether or not I'm addressing them directly, but I get to say those things. Like I was bullied, and I've got family that have drug problems. I had every reason to not want drugs in my body, put it that way. And one of my friends in middle school and early high school, he was on Adderall for ADD, and we act very similar. Like, it was like a night and day comparison of like, what's it like to have ADD with no Adderall and what's it like to be on Adderall?
Right.
And he hated it. And now he's off of it and it's night and day. So it's like, it's just more and more I find little reasons where it's like, drugs are no good.
I'll keep it very short. My childhood best friend, who I mentioned in some other story, he was getting acid. I know it's a jump from Adderall. Yeah. But like you see the change. Because especially with that guy, you knew him for 15 years.
I mean, you're frying your brain.
I mean, it would get to the point, like this dude was trying to like walk through walls. Like that's how crazy like this shit was. And like, especially with like fentanyl now, like this is probably the weird way to put it, but drugs are leveling up. Yeah. Like they're only gonna get way more deadly, way more crazy. And, I've always felt bad for people. Like, I go to downtown Louisville far more than I want to. And, like, the problem with downtown is the attitude is you see these homeless drug addict guys, and it's like, keep them under the underpass. Don't get close to Market Street. It's like, like, you see a guy that's, like, tweaking out or something, and, like, my first thought is always, like, what happened to them.
Yeah,
it's so rough.
that's
to
my
see.
biggest fear. And like, I'll give away, you know, I don't like to talk, but I'll give to homeless people, but
Sure.
I'm not going to give you cash.
You know where it's going.
Because I know where you're just going to put it, and I don't want that for you.
I can't. And
Let's go to McDonald's and I'll get you a cheeseburger.
And Louisville's bad with their programs. Have you seen like the homeless like camps thing they have set up?
Yeah, I'm not there a whole lot, but
They
I used to
churn them
work
out.
over there. Yeah.
They go over there and they're like, here, you can stay here for a day, and then you're back on the They don't help.
Yeah.
They give you like sanctuary for a few hours.
That's wild.
And I know we're going in depth with stuff, and
Yeah, I don't know. I like the serious.
I do too, because I feel like you and me have a lot of the same stance
Yeah.
on certain things. Because I'll never subscribe to the idea that like you know more about me than I do.
Yeah.
When they put me on that medication, I'm like, I don't need it. Well, he's just a kid. I'm like, no, you're saying this thing helps this depression. I don't have it.
Right. I think self-talk is really powerful too.
It's huge.
And you know, I don't know if you're religious or not, but religion is a different conversation. I see religion and manifestation as things that can coexist. Some people will disagree, but I think that you can. I don't know if you can tell. I've got like allergies are kicking my butt right now, but it's like you just wake up. I'm not sick. I'm not this. I'm not sad today. I'm not, angry that you just gave me a million reasons to be angry about. I'm not stressed out. It's, flipping it and finding the positive. The self-talk is super important. I've got a video on my Instagram of the day of that headliner show.
Really?
I'll have to show it to you. It's really cool. The guy that put it together, shout out Chase Williams, is one of my really good friends. And then another guy, Benjamin Yanez, he did the music for it. But I just gave Chase the camera, and I was like, I don't want you to try and make this anything it isn't. Follow me around and capture the day as the day is.
Yep. And
he killed it. It's the right amount of watching it makes me just as anxious as I was the day, and just as excited, and then just like the emotional, like I'm getting goosebumps, like just the emotional release of it is just, I don't know, it's awesome.
That's great, dude.
Yeah, it's a cool piece of something to have too.
And before we go into, because we talked, so we'll go in a little more behind for the Ari the Asshole stuff. You talked about religion, and it's a tough subject. I'll be quick with it. I am religious, raised Southern Baptist, go to church, and it's because of recent. It shocks me how many people, 80s, 90s, never read the Bible.
Yeah.
Because here's my stand. And church gets a bad rap because you hear all the homophobia, the racism, and people will tie it to like the Bible. And I get like...
That's with any group though. You get the worst of the worst or the best of the best.
Becomes a stereotype.
Yeah, and it's the stereotype.
And what I'll say about it, and I judge people harshly because I'll never subscribe to the idea that the Bible teaches you to love one another. Mm-hmm. And these people be like, I love my neighbor, I will love everyone equally, but fuck those disgusting X, Y, and Z. I'm like, like, and don't get me wrong, if you're, like, I get like there's some verses that describe homophobia, but I'm like, doesn't mean you say hurtful things, you attack people. That doesn't say that. You can disagree with someone, and you can easily be like, you're still a good person.
Well, and at the end of the day, the Bible is about repenting.
Yes.
If you find me sinful, help me address those things, not shut me out from it.
It's just, I see like, and I feel bad anytime I see these like old, and I get like people who are old like that, they're stuck in their ways, they were taught a different thing.
Yeah.
But like I go to church and I hear all these things about like, oh, did you hear they're doing this in the government, they're doing this? I'm like, who cares about politics? You're supposed to be doing this with your life. That's what it calls in your family. Like, don't make it way bigger than it needs to be. And I'm not political, not politics, but I remember when Trump came out with his Trump Bible that had the Constitution.
What?
You heard about this?
Uh-uh.
It had like, it didn't have his face or anything, but he added the Constitution and the Bill of Rights in the front, and churches bought them up like crazy. And I was like, you're putting his words next to God's.
That's
Religious
crazy.
or not, you would see, and like I saw a video of a pastor like, who like he flipped out. He's like, if you bought this thing, he goes, it's blasphemous. People cultivate. They take religion and politics in the same thing, and
They're not.
I will never stand for it. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not I'm not anybody.
Yeah.
I just can't. It really gets me going because when
So are you Catholic or are you Christian?
I'm not Christian, like Southern
Okay.
Baptist. I look at it, I'm like, look, all I know is I believe
Yeah.
I'm gonna live my life trying to do the best things
And
and be good to people, and that's
one
all
thing.
I want.
That's one thing that makes me so mad about social media is just like, say we were big enough to have that clipped, someone would clip that out of context, and then you would be XYZ agenda fitting thing.
Or like
It's
people would say I'm like an atheist because they don't support Republicans.
I hate thinking. I don't know. I caught myself whenever I asked you what you were. Like, I don't think of you as Southern Baptist, XYZ.
If you heard 80% of the stuff that comes out of my mouth, you definitely would be like, oh my God.
Well, you know what I mean? It's not like, yeah, it's like I'm not assigning what you say you believe in conversation to you. I'm not judging you. I'm just learning your character.
Who you
and
are.
You can, I don't know, I think you can be a good person and disagree with good people.
100%. Like, I'll always look at character above anything. If
Yeah.
someone, like, one of my best friends growing up was atheist. And he was a very hard, like, not just like no God, no anybody. Like, it's all science. Dude would be welcomed in my home any day of the week. He volunteered. He did so many nice things, helped his mom when she was sick. Again, he'd be welcomed in my home any day of the week.
Yeah.
To wrap it up there for
yeah.
that.
There's people, yeah, I don't know. We could go. Maybe we do this every couple, yeah. Just like a Josh and Jordan corner.
And then talking about the show, because we said we talked a little bit about it. We did the first episode, okay? And like I said, we went to this random classroom, and we had such bad anxiety of what if a class starts halfway through when we're doing this?
Yes.
And it was so like, oh God, we got to get through this. What were your thoughts, if you can remember, after that day?
What do you mean?
Like, we wrap up, you leave. Because my thought when I left, I was like, we can do this. Like, we can make this work.
Oh, wait, so was that, help me remember, was that like the first day we did it?
First thing we did was,
That was the first day when someone walked in?
not when someone walked in, I'm saying like, when we,
Oh, just the first day after.
first episode ever, we were at that weird day.
No, I knew.
We recorded from 80 yards away.
Yeah, I knew. I mean, it was fun. I mean, that's, again, bring in the energy. Like, at the very least, the one thing I want to do is have fun.
I learned a while ago from radio and its stints now, and especially like, not to give myself credit, but I feel like a lot of the show is made in the edit.
Yeah.
Because you're finding the comedic time. Because how it works, obviously, is there's two guys that sit, and it's the one shot of the guy sitting like across them or in that one room to the side. So those two guys, it almost feels like those two guys are in like a different realm
Yeah.
of like comedy, because you're working off each other based off what he says.
Exactly.
And it goes that rotation through the whole episode. So finding those comedic balances,
Yeah.
because it'd be super stupid if I just stood on, let's say if I'm reading a story and never cut to you guys.
Right.
Because you guys are doing your own thing, you're reacting to the different story beats.
Even as something as subtle as like you say something interesting and it's like,
Huh. Like that's where I give like Nick a lot credit. He's really animated.
yeah.
So it's very easy to be like, yep, that's a face that
Yep. Yeah.
I could plug. And plus making the thumbnails are always the funniest thing on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I will say with Ari the Asshole, like you said, the first 4 episodes had their technical issues. Oh, good.
I think, but those issues aside, like it never killed the stride. I don't feel like.
I remember when we lost the Halloween episode the first time around, and it was still like, yeah, we'll do it again.
Whatever. We sat down and did another 30-minute episode.
Well, it goes to show, and because what I always hated, and it was because how my teacher in high school, I say he was great, but he really wanted me to be like the main guy. And the problem with how it was run was, it felt like this is my show, your guys are the backup.
Yeah.
And even then, like, it didn't feel right. So, like, when we do this, I noticed myself from habit, like the first 3 episodes, if you two from across the table are riffing on something, I'll keep trying to, like, interject with something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now I'll watch back and I'm like, let them go.
Well, I mean,
They're cooking something.
Yeah, I mean, that makes you a better conversationalist. It makes you a better comedian. Like, that's what when I sit in front of the camera and we're doing this, it's like, not necessarily in this episode because we're getting deep, but like, I'm trying to have my office moment, my bit. Like, this is my moment to, exercise that muscle of stand-up comedy. So it is, and it's just in acting too. Like, there's just as much, and music too. There is just as much of the art in not saying something as there is saying something.
Oh yeah, a lot of the funny stuff, because Nick doesn't laugh. He just smiles. He doesn't audibly laugh. You and me laugh like crazy.
And he goes, oh, that's crazy.
That's literally what he does. So like, and it's so funny, like when you cut to him, it's just like, it looks like he's having a heart attack.
Yeah.
Because he's making no noise.
Just having a stroke.
And like, it proves you don't need to be like, you and me are insane when we laugh, but it's just as funny when he goes, even though it's not this big monstrous thing.
Yeah.
And like, I pick up, and now I get like kind of self-conscious in the sense that I clap like a walrus after every little thing, and I'm like, geez, put your hands in your pockets.
Yeah.
It's so.
I mean, those are the things that make you unique. I think
True.
that's what's so cool about the show is like we have the common thread.
And what I do love, like how us three work together, we all have, because what would suck is if one guy was like, let's do this, and the other two are like, I don't care, I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be way less fun. I feel like we all, because we get along so well, we're down for anything.
Yeah.
But whatever one guy presents, we build on to it. Like the sketch we did for the channel trailer, and the bloopers showcase it a little bit more. It was this whole idea, like that discussion where it was us three here. I think it was Nick's idea for the sketch of him running in, and it was your idea for how it would be shot, like following him, cutting back to where I'm at, and we're all working out who's saying what, how the camera, like it's two guys' ideas, but everyone together is building it as it goes.
Well, it's important. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep harping on this comment, but bring in the energy, like, to every little thing.
It would be very different if you and me came in and let's say Nick was kind of heads down. His just, am I the asshole? It'd be different if one guy.
Well, yeah. That's a quality, not to go back to being deep, but that's a quality that I developed in high school, was like, back then it wouldn't have mattered to me because it would have been like, suck it up, it's time to work. And now I think I'm way more empathetic. I think it's because I'm where I am at in my life. I've got a younger sister, I've got a relationship, I'm stronger in my faith and with my siblings, and just life is different than what it used to be. And I don't know, I care more about people. Like,
That is, I remember I don't want to say hateful, but I was
hateful.
It was more I didn't care, which is an element of hate, but like, I just remember like, if someone wronged me in high school, it was, I don't care if you got in a car accident, it was generally like that, and that, now I'm saying it does sound like hatred, but it came from an element of not caring. And what changed my opinion was in someone who bullied me in middle school, I ran into him junior year of high school, and he was like, and this is why I believe people can change. He said, dude, all that shit in 6th, 7th grade, my bad.
Wow.
He almost got like, he was like, I'm so fucking sorry.
Good for him.
And I was like, dude, no harm, no foul.
We're good.
Like a year ago, like if it was back then, or like if I was like 16, I'd be like, yeah, you should feel bad. But in that moment, I was like, this dude changed, apologize.
Yeah.
There's no way on planet Earth I should turn him off now. And I shook his hand. I was like, dude, no harm, no foul. And like, granted, never saw the dude again, but I got that closure. And I used to not believe people could change. And
closure is so important, man.
Oh,
I've had so many situations where it's like,
it's the best.
I gotta wrap this up for myself, or I'm gonna think about it all the time. Yeah, we should do this more.
Oh, absolutely. It's so, and even like adding Nick to the conversation. I think we could do an episode with you, me just like interview Nick.
Yeah.
And get like, hey, here's what we talked about, give your thoughts.
Well, I like this round table style of discussion. I hope the comments like it. This is going to be a long episode.
Oh,
so.
I think we're getting close to an hour.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's important, because I feel like part of the show is, and I think, and from my perspective, you're going to know why we say asshole, not the asshole, if we talk a little bit about the morality of what we believe. And Nick is absolutely not this way, but if he was just like, if you bump into me in public, you're a dick and I hope you die. Like, that would explain if he said asshole every single time.
Right.
Like, I think it gives a better perspective, and...
Yeah, you're learning a little more about, like...
You want to double check, make sure it's still going?
What are you saying?
Oh, yeah, we had to cut camera for time.
I think it gives, a deeper insight to, like... Well, now you can go back and watch those episodes and, like, you at least know how we think a little bit better. So it's like, man, I didn't agree with how Jordan handled that, but now you can see what I'm thinking, at least to an extent.
Because I feel like there's been a very few instances where we've disagreed on who was the asshole and who wasn't.
Yeah. And
it's not to put you on a bus, but it's always you're the guy out.
Me?
Yeah, it was like both times, like you were the one who said ass, whoever it was. And what's also crazy is because I edit these videos, what I noticed in the first episode, because I just told you, I don't watch our episodes because I edit it, so I could tell you after I'm done editing, word for word what him and Nick said.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so desensitized. So I started watching the earlier episodes because now I'm kind of, those jokes and what we did are gone in my mind. And what I noticed was in the first episode, and then episode 3 because I wasn't in 2, I was really more gravitating towards Nick because I still didn't really know you all that well. And then I think it was the Halloween special. You see how you and me and then you and Nick interact more as we get more comfortable. Like these, we learn more things about you.
Sure.
You see a friendship evolve.
Yeah.
And I say I knew Nick a while ago. We were in that class, and then after I graduated, or he graduated because he was a year ahead of me, I never really saw him that much.
Yeah.
But you still knew a bit about him, which broke the ice.
That's interesting because you're getting to see your experience in two different ways. You know someone, and now you're watching the friendship evolve, and then it's you and I, total stranger.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how those are going at a similar rate.
Because what was really cool about it when I'm watching these episodes back was when you do because here's what people obviously don't understand when you do the show. The only really issue that's not technical on our end is in the story itself. Because if it's funny, you laugh, you have a good time.
Yeah.
If it's not funny, it can go one of two ways. It's either kind of a dud, which we haven't really had one yet, or it's going to be fun and it's going to be fun in the sense that it's us making it fun.
Yeah.
The best example, even though a lot of it was cut, was the hummus story. Because it was a crazy story, but it was just simple, am I the asshole for this? We took it a step farther and made those jokes. We took the material and ran with it. And it's good improv on our end.
Again, bringing the energy. We're becoming, yes, we're practicing journalism. Yes, we're finishing school. Yes, this is for school. But one, we care about it, and two, we're exercising muscles that have nothing to do with journalism.
I mean, yeah, because I always say, radio was the only job that I did where I was I love doing this, I want to do this. And podcasts, and this is where I'm probably a little more sentimental. Love IUS and what they've done. I've gotten a lot of great experience. But I did it my sophomore and junior year, and I just did a one-person show on the radio, similar to what Trevor's doing right now.
Yeah.
And it was a sports show.
Shout out Trevor and his sports show on the IUS Horizon.
I think it's music.
Music. Josh did it. Sorry. His is a music show. I did know that.
But I remember I did it the first 2 years, and it was fun. But because I did it in high school with people, I'm I miss having the two guys.
Yeah.
It was, and again, I still loved doing it. It was called On the Sideline. I still loved doing it. It was still fun. And I got some scholarship money from it. But then the moment we did, I'm trying to think, it was the 3rd episode of Are You the Asshole? That's when the intro was made. We had how the camera's going to be done. I'm pretty sure that's when stay off Reddit.
Yeah.
When we hit the story beats and everyone was contributing to it, I was like, this is 10 times, a million times more fun.
Well, it's like, I don't know. I don't even feel like,
It's an assignment.
yeah, my class schedule is really awesome. Like, I only show up on Wednesdays. Like, it's just everything else this
It's
semester's
easy.
online so far. So it's just like, I don't even think about this as like, oh, I gotta go to school.
Right.
It's like, oh yes, I'm getting to go exercise those muscles and sit and have fun and talk with,
Dude, so how our class worked, we only had to show up Wednesdays, but when the semester started, it was Monday and Wednesdays. I remember when we still had to be here, I remember hating Mondays because all I wanted to do was record. And record was Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I remember like,
And we're sitting in here.
Yeah.
Dude, I felt like a chump, by the way, bringing my notebook and like acting like I was gonna take notes.
I keep forgetting that you weren't in a classroom.
Well, dude, think about this. I hadn't been in a classroom since my sophomore year of high school at this point.
I remember you being like, we had to get a key for the radio room. We're like, oh, can you grab it? It's by blah, blah, blah center. And you're like, bro, I know where the entrance is in
Where
this
is
classroom.
that, bro? I know where I parked. That's it.
Oh my God. We had, I've been on campus every year I've done it. And you're like me, this is you graduate next semester.
Yeah, spring.
Right? Yeah. So I think that dynamic is interesting. And plus, like, some of these people, like, I've seen Annalise before.
Yeah,
I've
had online stuff with Annalise
Yeah,
before.
I've seen Abby before. I think I've seen Trevor before. But, like, you kind of recognize people, and it's like, who's that tall drink of water?
Yeah, thank you.
This guy. But so far, like, with the show, I'm glad it's turned, because it'd be very weird if two of us or one of us wasn't really into it.
Yeah.
So last thing I'll say, and then we'll close. I'm very fortunate to have two guys,
Yeah.
love doing it, add to it, and are extremely fucking funny.
Thank you.
Because
likewise.
It's such a nice change of pace from because in high school it was regulated, and then in IUS it was unregulated, but I was by myself.
Yeah.
So I finally got that mix of
Yeah.
it being perfect.
Well, I don't know. I love to just commit to the bit, honestly.
I mean, we talked about sketch ideas, dude.
It's just
We're gonna hit it. It's gonna be crazy.
committing to the bit is like just, I don't know. You can't take yourself too seriously.
I hate myself. I didn't see it, but whenever that cold open where Nick went in to kiss me, I was too busy talking to you. I had wished I turned around and looked at it. I would have gone in for it. I was like, it was still funny, but I was like, damn it, that's wasted potential.
Damn. I like this. We got to do this again.
100%, dude.
I'm shocked none of the gear, knock on wood, messed up.
Somehow
We'll see if editor Josh thinks the same thing.
That's something too. It's like editing. I originally took on editing because I felt bad that because the two cameras we shoot with are Nick and Jordan's, and these mics are Jordan's. So I was always like, they have to set it up, they have to break it down. It's their stuff. Like if God forbid we have a power surge or something. So I was like, the least I could do is edit. And then I hated it. I don't like editing. Like in general, like before this, I hated it. It's so annoying. It was so tedious. But it was kind of want to add an intro. Okay, we can add our names. Ooh, credits looks cool. Oh, the TV rates. This is the first time I was like, I want to add so much. Adding the not the asshole as we say it. I think color grading.
I like that you just take it and run with it. Because let me say this, I'm getting the sweetest end of the deal by just bringing my camera.
Well, I always because part of it is like a satisfactory, I'm delivering the final product essentially to you guys. That makes it sound way more professional than what it is.
Yeah.
But that's why I always send you guys the thumbnails for two reasons. One is, I think it's funny. It's like, hey, check this out. And two, it's like when you see this, you know what the story's about, and you know, all right, that's gonna be funny.
Yeah.
And then when you guys are like, all right, that's great. It kind of does sum up the episode because one, it follows the same beats, and two,
I have yet to see a bad thumbnail from you.
Let me tell you what I'm not counting the first one because it's just the logo because we didn't do anything. I'm trying to. That's actually a good thing we'll end on. I'm going to. Oh my God! I didn't even show you that. I forgot. This is me and Nick in high school.
Oh wow.
And the guy on the left is. I'll probably have to crop him out in case it doesn't want to get shown. But that's.
Wow.
I'm a junior. He's a senior. Yes.
Dude, you'd hate to see me. I had a perm. Hang on, I gotta show you this now. I had a perm you said junior year?
Yeah, I was junior.
What year was that? That'll be easier.
Me? Oh yeah, we're in the same. I graduated in 2020, 2020. So it'd be 2019, 2020.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely. 2020.
Okay, I think I know what it is. What my least favorite thumbnail is, and you're gonna heavily disagree with me.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not counting the first one because it's just the logo because we didn't plan on it in the beginning. I think it's episode 4 where it's the bug on screen.
The cockroach.
For the sole purpose of, for some reason, I don't like the white vignette
Yeah.
around it, and I genuinely think, I think the Italian flag is funny.
Yeah.
I drew in my own line for the college thing, putting you and Nick in a funeral home. Nick's grave is probably my favorite thumbnail. And Super Saiyan's pretty basic, but it's funny.
Yeah, it was good though.
I take it back. My favorite's the wedding one.
Here we go. So I'll send you this to put up as well.
That's my favorite.
I don't remember the story from that.
That was Nick. It was someone who got Ari the asshole because I was too fat for the wedding.
Oh.
And I had the worst Freudian slip of all time.
Dude, yeah. So this is like post-perm. It had already fallen out.
Who do you look like?
But I had a mop on
You
my
look like
head.
you joined the Hype House.
Low key, Bryce Hall.
Oh boy. I think on that note,
Yeah.
I don't know what we're gonna call this.
I don't know. We'll have to. Yeah. We'll sit on it and pause, and we'll talk about what we can call this thing.
Getting deep in with Josh.
No, getting deep inside. Yeah, getting deep inside, featuring featuring Josh and Jordan, and then Nick one day in the
When he
future.
gets here.
Getting deep inside.
So yeah, let us know if you like this sort of thing. I enjoyed that a lot, man. We went on way longer than I thought we were gonna.
Yeah.
The
The sun's going down.
yeah, we started this after the again we'll get Nick more in on these things, and it has to be 2 people probably riff for more episodes than we
Yeah.
do before we start them.
This will be rare, I feel like.
We may before, and again Nick has mentioned that he may be able to do episodes. He may not be able to do them as regularly, like every week.
Yeah, so when Nick graduates this semester,
This winter.
this will be the format, kind of, hopefully.
Yeah, the good thing is it's not scheduled, so I can release this whenever I want.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be cool.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for us two. Thank you for watching Are You the Asshole? Thanks for putting up with us for what I think is close to an hour-long video.
Probably.
And then see you next time.
Yeah, stay off Reddit, I guess. We didn't talk about it, but stay off of it.
What do we didn't like stay off Prozac.
Yeah, stay off.
Unless it helps you, then
Well,
stay on.
Stay on your prescription drugs if they help.
Boom. Dude, that's such a weird stay off Prozac. It's
yeah,
like,
right?
what happened? Did they?
No!
Oh my God.
It's fine. It's just
Oh
the
my
battery.
God. I thought that, no, I saw that, but I thought it broke the bottom half. I was like, oh my God.